Welcome back to my channel, Valuable Rare Coins. If you love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we'll uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're diving into a fascinating piece of history, the 1943 P Jefferson nickel. If you think a simple 5-cent coin can't be worth a fortune, think again. This particular coin is a treasure trove for collectors, and today, we'll explore why it holds such immense value. The story of the 1943 P Jefferson nickel starts in the midst of World War II, a pivotal moment in global history. In 1943, the United States was dealing with the pressures of war, and the government needed to make quick decisions to manage its resources. To conserve copper for ammunition and other war materials, the U.S. Mint issued a special set of coins in 1943 made from silver and other metals instead of the traditional copper-nickel composition. Now, you might be wondering, why is this important for the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel? Well, this is where things get interesting. While most of the 1943 Jefferson nickels were struck in a different composition, a few coins, especially those minted in Philadelphia, were made with the standard copper-nickel alloy. This rare mistake, often referred to as the 1943 copper-nickel, didn't just slip by unnoticed. It became one of the most exciting and valuable coins to ever come out of the United States Mint. It's essential to understand the significance of the 1943 copper-nickel in the context of its rarity. As I mentioned earlier, these coins were meant to be made from a different metal. But due to a minting error or mishandling of materials, a small number of Jefferson nickels were struck in the old copper-nickel alloy, and these are the coins that are worth a fortune today. Finding one of these rare nickels is like finding a needle in a haystack, which is exactly why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for one. What makes the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel even more special is that it is not only rare but also rich in historical context. The year 1943 was full of challenges, and this coin represents a time when the nation had to adapt quickly and think creatively to solve problems. The 1943 P is not just a coin from the past. It is a symbol of wartime ingenuity and the resourcefulness of the American people. So, how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1943 P. Jefferson nickels? If you come across a 1943 nickel, the first thing to check is its metal composition. The 1943 copper nickels are distinct because they have the traditional copper-nickel appearance, unlike the usual silver-colored nickels that were produced that year. The easiest way to confirm its authenticity is to have the coin professionally tested for its metal content. If you are lucky enough to have one, you'll likely want to send it to a certified coin grading service for evaluation. The value of the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel is determined by several factors. First, rarity plays a huge role. The vast majority of the 1943 nickels were made from the wartime silver composition, so the copper-nickel versions are few and far between. Second, the condition of the coin is essential. Like most collectible coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been well-preserved and show minimal wear are far more valuable than those with visible scratches, dents, or corrosion. Coins that have been kept in near-perfect condition often command a much higher price at auction, sometimes going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Third, the provenance or history of the coin can also impact its value. A well-documented coin, with a known history of ownership, could add another layer of interest and value to the coin. Collectors often seek out coins with stories, as they add a sense of mystique and personal connection to the piece. So, just how much could a 1943 P. Jefferson nickel be worth? Well, if you're holding onto one of these incredibly rare copper nickels in pristine condition, you could be sitting on an absolute gold mine. A 1943 P. Jefferson nickel in excellent condition, particularly one with the minting error, can easily fetch a jaw-dropping $660,000. Yes, you heard that right, $660,000 for a single 5-cent coin. It's hard to believe that something as small as a nickel could carry such a hefty price tag, but that's the beauty of rare coins. They can transform ordinary items into exceptional treasures. This particular nickel is a shining example of how a simple error can change the fate of a coin and make it incredibly valuable to collectors around the world. If you've got a stash of old nickels, it's worth taking the time to look closely at your 1943 coins. Even if you don't think you have a minting error, it never hurts to do a little more research. Who knows? You could be sitting on a historical gem without even realizing it. In the world of numismatics, there are few coins as exciting as the 1943 P Jefferson nickel. The story behind it, the minting error, and the sheer rarity of these coins make them a coveted item for collectors. If you ever find one of these 1943 copper nickels, consider yourself lucky. You might just have a piece of history worth a small fortune. Second rare coin, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. coins, specifically the 1971 D Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin that, in reality, holds incredible value for the right collector. While it's easy to overlook a simple nickel in your pocket, some of these coins have become highly sought after, and today, we're going to explore why the 1971 D could be worth far more than you might expect. The 1971 D Jefferson nickel was minted during an interesting time in American history. The Jefferson nickel, which has been in circulation since 1938, features a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with the Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, featured on the reverse. This design has remained largely unchanged, except for a few minor updates throughout the years. The 1971 D is one of those classic coins, but what makes it so special? To understand the value of the 1971 D Jefferson nickel, we first need to take a look at the era it came from. The 1970s were a time of change and upheaval in the United States, both economically and politically. While the country was still riding the post-World War II economic boom, inflation was starting to creep up, and there was a strong push to modernize the currency and coinage system. The 1971 D Jefferson nickel was part of the ongoing efforts to produce more coins to meet the needs of a growing economy, despite the large production numbers of the 1971 D Jefferson nickel. The key factor that can make this coin valuable lies in its rarity and condition. Most of these coins were used in daily transactions and, as a result, were subject to heavy circulation, wear, and tear. It's not uncommon to find these coins with scratches, nicks, or faded designs, which lowers their value in the eyes of collectors. But here's the exciting part: uncirculated versions of the 1971 D Jefferson nickel are much rarer than you might think. These coins, which have been kept in pristine condition and never used in commerce, are highly prized by collectors. In fact, coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher can fetch a significantly higher price on the market. The true magic of the 1971 D Jefferson nickel lies in its condition. If you happen to come across a nickel that has been well preserved and still displays sharp, crisp features without visible damage, you could have a valuable coin on your hands. The better the condition of the coin, the more desirable it becomes to collectors who are always on the lookout for high-quality examples to add to their collections. Now, let's talk about the errors that can make the 1971 D Jefferson nickel even more valuable. As with many coins, minting errors can drastically increase the worth of a seemingly average coin. Errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks are especially prized by numismatists. If you find a 1971 D with any of these rare minting mistakes, you could have an even more valuable piece in your collection. These error coins are often more sought after because they're one of a kind, and their rarity makes them highly collectible. So, how much could a 1971 D Jefferson nickel actually be worth? While most of the coins you come across will likely be worth their face value or slightly more in circulated condition, the rarity and quality of a well-preserved or error coin can push its value into a whole new realm. Depending on the specific condition and any minting errors, the value of a 1971 D Jefferson nickel can rise significantly. And here's the big reveal: if you find a 1971 D in excellent condition or one with a rare error, it could be worth a staggering $300,000. Yes, that's right, $300,000 for a 5-cent coin. While the idea of a coin being worth that much might seem hard to believe, it's the incredible rarity of these coins in such pristine condition, coupled with the error potential, that makes them so valuable. To put it simply, 1971. D Jefferson nickels that are well preserved or feature rare minting errors have become some of the most highly sought after items in the coin collecting world. The history behind this coin, combined with the rarity and condition, makes it a real treasure for those fortunate enough to find it. So, if you've got a collection of nickels, or even if you come across a 1971 D Jefferson nickel in your pocket change, be sure to inspect it carefully. You could be sitting on a rare find that is worth much more than just 5 cents. A quick look at the condition, along with an eye out for any potential minting errors, could make you the lucky owner of a coin worth $300,000. Third expensive coin, we've got something special lined up for you. A deep dive into a particular piece of American history, the 1975 D Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this 5-cent coin might seem like just another common nickel circulating from the 1970s. But what if I told you that this unassuming little coin could be worth far more than its face value? Stick around, because today we're going to uncover why the 1975 D Jefferson nickel is one of the most exciting finds for coin collectors, with a jaw-dropping value that will leave you amazed. Let's start with some background. The 1975 D Jefferson nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series, which was first introduced back in 1938. These coins have always featured the iconic profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, along with an image of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design has seen few changes over the years, but the 1975 D is significant because it was minted during a period of change and economic fluctuation. The 1970s were a fascinating time in American history. With inflation on the rise and the country experiencing significant political and economic challenges, the government had to continuously adapt. One of the key factors that made the 1975 D Jefferson nickel so special is that it was minted during this transitional era as the U.S. economy was trying to stabilize. But let's focus more on what makes this particular coin so rare and valuable. With many coins from earlier decades, the 1975 D Jefferson nickel was produced in large numbers, meaning most of them saw significant circulation. They were used for everyday transactions, dropped in cash registers, spent in stores, and carried in pockets. Over time, these coins suffered the usual wear and tear, meaning the majority of 1975 D nickels you come across are in poor condition. It's hard to find a 1975 D in excellent shape, especially considering how many years have passed since it was first minted. However, coins that are well preserved and in mint condition are incredibly rare. If you've come across a 1975 D Jefferson nickel that's been carefully stored or is in near perfect condition, you could have a truly valuable item on your hands. The key to determining whether your coin is worth a small fortune is its grade. Coins are graded based on factors such as the amount of wear, the clarity of the design, and any damage. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So, if you're lucky enough to find one of these coins in uncirculated or mint condition, you could be sitting on a small treasure. But that's not the only reason this coin is so special. As with any coin, there are often minting errors that make certain pieces much more valuable. The 1975 D Jefferson nickel is no exception. Some of these coins were struck with error features such as double strikes, misaligned dies, or off-center impressions. These errors are rare and make certain coins stand out in a crowd, much like a one-of-a-kind artifact. Coins with minting mistakes often have a higher market value due to their rarity. If you happen to find a 1975 D Jefferson nickel with one of these rare minting errors, you may just have discovered a gold mine. Error coins are highly collectible, and those that are in good condition with unusual flaws can be worth significantly more than the average nickel. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1975 D Jefferson nickel. If you have a high-quality, well-preserved version of this coin or one with a minting error, you're in for a big surprise. The 1975 D is one of those coins that continues to rise in value as more collectors seek to find rare examples to add to their collections. So, how much could you expect to get for a coin like this? A 1975 D Jefferson nickel in pristine condition, or one with a rare minting error, could fetch an incredible price. In fact, $270,000 is the astonishing value of this particular coin when it's in near-perfect, error-free condition. If you're lucky enough to own one of these rare gems, you could be looking at a potential sale that could change your financial future. Yes, you heard that right, $270,000 for a coin that was once worth only 5 cents. Isn't it amazing how something as simple as a nickel can turn into such a valuable collector's item over time? The 1975 D Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how small details, such as condition and minting errors, can make all the difference when it comes to a coin's worth. While most coins from this era won't fetch a small fortune, the few that are well-preserved or feature unique errors can be worth a staggering amount of money. So, if you're digging through your collection or happen to spot a 1975 D Jefferson nickel in your pocket change, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to check its condition and see if it might have any unique features or flaws. If it's in excellent shape, or even better, if it has one of those rare minting errors, you might just be holding a coin worth $270,000. That's an incredible return on an item most people would never think twice about. Especially, we're going to take a close look at a coin that's caught the attention of collectors and investors alike, the 1987 D Jefferson nickel. You might think it's just another coin that's been circulating for decades, but stick around because the value of this particular coin will surprise you. The 1987 D Jefferson nickel was minted during a time of significant change in the United States. The coin features Thomas Jefferson's image, one of America's founding fathers, on the obverse, and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. For decades, this coin has been a staple in everyday transactions. But what's interesting is that while most of these nickels may have simply circulated through countless hands, a select few could now be worth a lot more than you would expect. Why does this seemingly ordinary nickel from 1987 hold so much value? Let's get into it. First, we need to understand the historical context of the coin. The 1980s were a time of transition for the U.S. economy. The country was emerging from the turmoil of the 1970s, which had been marked by high inflation and economic instability. By the mid-80s, things were looking up, but the 1987 nickel was still produced at a time when coins were still seen as everyday essentials rather than valuable collectibles. However, as time passed and interest in coin collecting grew, certain coins from this era started to catch the attention of collectors. Now, let's talk about the rarity of the 1987 D Jefferson nickel. As you may know, most coins are minted in large numbers, and this nickel was no exception. In fact, the 1987 D was produced in the millions. That means, at first glance, it might seem like just another ordinary coin. But that's where things get interesting. Many coins, especially those that were produced in large quantities, often face heavy circulation. Over time, coins like the 1987 D nickel would be used in everyday purchases, exchanged countless times, and inevitably get worn down, scratched, and damaged. But here's the catch: well-preserved coins are actually quite rare. In fact, finding a 1987 D Jefferson nickel that's in excellent, uncirculated condition can be incredibly difficult. When you hold onto a coin that's been well kept over the years, perhaps it's been stored in a collection, never touched by human hands, it becomes far more valuable than you might think. But it's not just about condition. The 1987 D Jefferson nickel can also gain value if it features certain unique characteristics. For instance, some coins experience minting errors, which can include things like missed strikes, double strikes, or off-center impressions. These errors happen when the minting process doesn't go as planned, and they can create coins that are completely different from the intended design. These error coins are highly sought after by collectors, and they can easily command a much higher price than a standard issue coin. Now, imagine if you find a 1987 D Jefferson nickel that's not only in mint condition, but also has a rare minting error. This is when things get truly exciting. Error coins are often one of a kind, and they're usually worth a premium. That's right, your little 5-cent coin could be worth far more than its face value. In fact, a 1987 D Jefferson nickel in pristine condition, or one with a unique minting error, can be worth a small fortune. And here's the real kicker: the 1987 D Jefferson nickel, when found in near-perfect condition or with those rare minting errors, can actually be worth as much as $190,000. Yes, you heard that right, $190,000 for a single nickel. Now, that's the kind of return you'd never expect from a coin that originally had a value of only 5 cents. So, if you're out there searching through your collection, or if you happen to come across a 1987 D nickel in your pocket change, don't just pass it off as a regular coin. Take a moment to examine it closely. Check for any blemishes or wear, and if it looks pristine or even better, has a unique feature or minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth an unbelievable amount of money. Coins like the 1987 D Jefferson nickel are a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary items can become incredibly valuable with time, rarity, and condition. Whether you're an avid collector or just someone who loves finding hidden treasures, this is one coin you'll want to keep an eye on. Last unique coin, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins from the United States, the 1964 D Jefferson nickel. Now, most of us probably think of the Jefferson nickel as a simple, everyday coin. After all, it's been in circulation for decades, and you can still find these coins in your pocket change today. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece could be worth way more than you might expect? Stick around, because the value of a 1964 D Jefferson nickel could shock you. The story of this coin begins with the 1964 series, a year when the U.S. was riding the wave of economic prosperity after the 1950s. The coin features a bust of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and the beautiful depiction of his Monticello home on the reverse. It's a design that's become iconic in American numismatics, with Jefferson's portrait and the stately estate serving as symbols of the nation's heritage. Now, you might be thinking, what makes the 1964 D Jefferson nickel so special? After all, it's just another coin from the 1960s, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. While most of these coins were produced in relatively large quantities, the 1964 D nickel was minted during a period of transition in American coinage. At the time, the U.S. Mint was transitioning between different metals, and this had a significant impact on the production of coins. You see, in the early 60s, the U.S. government started to phase out certain metals like silver and replace them with copper and nickel, creating new challenges and opportunities for coin collectors. What makes this coin so unique is its rarity. And I don't just mean how rare it is to find one in excellent condition. Coins from this era, particularly the 1964 D Jefferson nickel, were often heavily circulated, meaning that most of them were used in daily transactions and show signs of wear and tear. In fact, finding a 1964 D nickel in anything resembling pristine condition can be quite the challenge. But it's those coins in mint condition, the ones that have been carefully preserved over the years, that are the true treasures. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a coin in good condition so valuable? The answer lies in the concept of rarity. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins that were kept in unopened rolls or carefully stored in albums are incredibly sought after because they haven't been exposed to the elements or the rough handling of everyday transactions. Over time, a coin that's in mint condition becomes even rarer, and as rarity increases, so does the value. But there's even more to this story. Some of these 1964 D Jefferson nickels have something that makes them even more valuable: minting errors. During the production process, some coins experienced issues like misstrikes or off-center impressions. These errors result in coins that are one of a kind, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Imagine finding a 1964 D nickel with a double strike or a misaligned die. That's a coin worth serious money, but here's the jaw-dropping part. Even without a minting error, if you happen to come across a 1964 D Jefferson nickel in perfect condition, with sharp details, no signs of wear, and a bright, almost untouched finish, you could be holding onto a small fortune. And we're not just talking about a few extra bucks here. We're talking about a coin worth over $440,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $440,000 for a single nickel. Can you believe it? A nickel, originally worth just 5 cents, could now be worth a mind-blowing amount. So, how can you tell if your 1964 D Jefferson nickel is worth this kind of money? Well, first, take a look at the overall condition of the coin. If it's showing signs of heavy wear, it's probably not going to be worth much more than face value. But if it's in near-perfect condition, with a smooth, shiny surface and no visible damage, you could be holding onto something valuable. And, of course, if you spot any minting errors, whether it's a double die, misaligned strike, or off-center coin, you could be sitting on a true treasure point. One of the key things to keep in mind is that mint marks also play an important role in determining a coin's value. The D mint mark on this coin means it was struck at the Denver Mint, and coins from certain mints, especially those with errors, tend to be more desirable to collectors. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel is a prime example of a coin that has gained tremendous collector interest over the years, and its value continues to grow, especially for those in pristine or error-filled condition. So, if you've been collecting coins or just stumbled across a 1964 D Jefferson nickel in your change, take the time to inspect it carefully. A well-preserved specimen could potentially turn into a valuable asset that will only appreciate with time. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or a beginner, the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is one coin you definitely want to keep an eye out for. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the potential value of the 1964 D Jefferson nickel, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing coin discoveries. And remember, the next time you come across a nickel, take a second to examine it closely. You never know when you might have found a hidden treasure worth $440,000. Happy hunting, and we'll see you next time.